Okay, welcome back. This is continuation of 1-3 notes using the distance and midpoint formulas. Okay, so part one, it says find the distance between each pair of points. So let's go ahead and just plot these points. I'm going to plot the point 2, 3, and I'm going to plot the point 4, 4. Okay, right here. Okay, and I'm going to call this point K and point F. All right. And so I'm going to go ahead and connect these with a line segment. And so from there, I'm actually going to draw vertical and horizontal lines going down to create a right triangle. Okay, and when I do that, I get that this is a distance of 1 and that this is a distance of 2. Okay, I'm just counting over. So what I want to do in order to find KF, okay, segment length KF is equal to, I'm going to go ahead and just use my friend Pythagoras. He's got a pretty sweet theorem. I'm going to use that, okay? And so I'm going to take one side length, so 1 squared, plus the other side length, 2 squared, and I'm going to evaluate this, okay? And so KF ends up being the square root of 1 plus 4. Okay, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. So then KF is equal to the square root of 5. And guys, I am unable to simplify this, okay? And so, this is a number, square root of 5, okay? It's approximately, if you put it in your calculator, it's about 2.24, okay? And that's about the length. Does that seem reasonable? If this is 2 and the hypotenuse of this triangle is going to be a little bit longer, 2.24 is a little bit longer, okay? It makes sense, all right? Pythagoras was onto something, okay? All right, let's try number 2. I'm going to plot the point -3, -1. So I'm going to count over to -3, go down 1. Okay, and that's point C. And then -2, 3 is right here. I'm going to call that point Q. Okay, and so then I'm going to go ahead and connect those with a line. And I'm going to draw lines make a right triangle going down and across, okay, from each endpoint. All right, and I know that this length right here is a length of 1, okay? This side of this triangle has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So I know that CQ, that length, is equal to the square root of 1 squared plus 4 squared, okay? And so length CQ is equal to the square root of 1 plus 16, okay? And then CQ is equal to the square root of 17. And guys, I can't simplify that any further, okay? This is a number, okay? The length, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more than 4, but, nothing too crazy. So square root of 17, oh, look, guys, it's about 4.12, okay? And so here, let me erase this and make sure this looks nice. All right, approximately, you need to have those, not make X's, okay? So, sorry, in your paper you may not have that much space. It's kind of working in some close quarters right there, CQ, okay? All right, let's do number 3, okay? And then 3 is asking for the midpoint of this segment. So let's plot the point 3, 1, okay, right here. Then I'm going to plot the point 5, 3, okay? And so if I connect those with a line, okay, and then I draw a right triangle going down and over, okay, then I'm going to make a little right angle here. What am I doing? I don't need to do that. I just need to use the midpoint formula. Okay, so anyway, we can probably tell that our midpoint is going to be the point 4, 2. Okay, so let's call this x sub 1, let's call this y sub 1, call this x sub 2, and this y sub 2. All right, and so my midpoint, m, that's what we'll call it for right now, is equal to, and remember our midpoint formula, guys, x sub 1, doesn't matter, but x sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2, and then y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. All right, so I've named them this. I'm going to plug it in here, and I'm going to get 5 plus 3 over 2, and then 3 plus 1, okay, 3 plus 1, or 1 plus 3, doesn't matter, And then I'm going to get that my midpoint M is equal to 8 halves, and then this is 4 halves. Okay, so then my midpoint, check this out, guys. 8 halves, that's 4. Okay, 4 halves, that's 2. All right, so let's plot that point. Oh, look, it's right here, the midpoint. Okay, I'm going to call this T, I'm going to call this U, and then this is M. Okay, so look, and it cuts it into 2 congruent pieces, and you can really, really see that. Okay, all right, let's take a look at number 4. Okay, it says find the coordinates of the midpoint of the segment. So let's plot the point -4, 2. Okay, and then the point 5, -2. So over here to 5, and then go down 2, and plot that point. Okay, this is JF. All right, and so let me connect my points here with a line. Okay, my midpoint's going to be somewhere in here. Not really sure where it is, but let's go ahead and just try it out. Okay, I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2, and I'm going to get that my midpoint M, okay, is equal to, okay, what do we got? -4 plus 5 over 2, okay, and then I've got 2 plus -2, okay, over 2. All right, so I've got my point for my x value is -4 plus 5, that's 1 halves, and then this is 0 halves. Oh, okay. So let's try this out. All right, so we got 1 half, leave it like that, and then 0 over 2, that's just 0. Okay, let's plot that point. About one, oh, check that out. That's on the graph. That's on the line. That's what I'm talking about. Looks pretty good. Okay, JMMF. Okay, so now here's the interesting thing, guys. Now that I found the midpoint, okay, it cuts it into 2 congruent segments. All right, and I'm actually going to label those as congruent and congruent. And JM, okay, I'm going to make the statement that JM is congruent to MF. Huh, that's pretty cool. You don't have to do that, but we're gonna start doing that pretty soon. Okay, all right, it's good stuff. Okay. All right, number 5. This is an interesting problem. This is one where you have to find the coordinates of the missing endpoint if P is the midpoint of NQ. Okay, so I'm going to plot the points Q and P. So I'm going to plot the point 3, 9, and it's going to be a little bit off the graph. Okay, this is 7, 8, and 9. Okay, I'm going to plot this point right here, and that's the point Q. Okay, and then I'm going to plot the point -1, 5. Okay, and this is point P. All right, so one thing that you've got to consider here is we know that P is the midpoint of NQ. So if P is the midpoint of some segment NQ, that means that N needs to be somewhere over on this side, okay? And so one way that I can do this is I can just start counting down and kind of use my slope to tell me this. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to go down 4 over 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it looks like that's on the line. Okay, I'm going to bet you that the point is -5, 1. Okay, how much you want to bet? Let's check it out. Let's put this, make a line right here. Okay, and so I want to make sure that this is my, if this is my, we're going to call this the point x sub 2, x sub 1. I'm going to call this point x sub 2, y sub 2. And this is the point x sub 1, comma, y sub 1. All right. So, and I know this point right here is x sub 1, y sub 1. Okay. And I'm going to use my midpoint formula to help me out. Okay. I'm going to write that up here. X sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2, comma, y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. All right. So I'm going to just focus on this right now. Now, if I plug 3 into my midpoint formula and x sub 2 into my formula, and I don't know what that is, okay, I bet it's -5, okay, x sub 2, and then if I divide that by 2, that's going to give me the midpoint of my x value, okay, the x value of my midpoint, I mean, okay, which is -1, all right? So if I evaluate and find the x value of my midpoint, I'm sorry, yeah, it should give me -1. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve for x sub 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, multiply by 2, and I get 3 plus x sub 2 is equal to, now -1 times 2 is just 2. Okay, and then if I solve this, I'm sorry, -2. If I solve this and subtract 3 from both sides, okay, and then I get x sub 2 is equal to -5. Oh, man. Oh, man. What did I say? Is this x sub 2 or what? Look at that, -5. Okay, now let's try the same thing for y. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to plug, I know my y sub 1 value is 9, plus y sub 2, that's what I'm looking for, which I bet is 1. Okay, I'm going to divide that by 2, and we should get 5 out of that. That's the x value of my midpoint. Okay, this is the point, -1, 5. Okay, so let me solve for y sub 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 and 2. Okay, so then I get 9 plus y sub 2 is equal to 10. If I subtract 9 from 10, what do I get, folks? What is that? Is that 1? That's 1. You serious, Clark? I mean, that's 1. Okay? That is fun. Okay, and that's my answer. -5, 1. That's point N. Okay, that's right here. Boom. All right. Okay, that's all I got for 1-3 notes. Sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained. I'm also looking at the clock because I've got some quinoa on the stove, and it is ready at 7:43, and you can check out what's going on there. So, thanks for watching. I had a lot of fun on that one. Having fun is non-negotiable. Okay, we will always have fun. Okay, see you.